Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. I am Everardo Recendiz, known around here as Coach Ever. I am a certified executive and leadership coach here at Action Coach in Northwest Louisiana. Today I have Liz Pyle. She is the founder of Undercurrent, a marketing firm, and we're going to be talking about her business, the journey to business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a little bit a peek into what it really is like to build and operate a business. If this is your first time on the channel, please be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when we drop new conversations just like this one. And so, Liz, welcome and thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm really excited to talk about all things that have to do with building a business and being in business and helping other businesses.
Great. Well, to get us started, would you give us a brief overview of your background and tell us a little bit about Undercurrent?
All right. I'll start with a little bit about my background. I'm an LSU graduate two times, one from Baton Rouge and one from Alexandria, both with bachelor's degrees. I have had a wild ride in my work world. I have worked in the restaurant industry. I have then moved into healthcare and the medical profession, worked in administration, worked with patient satisfaction, a lot of internal marketing to employees. Went from there, then went to work for an IT company, which is crazy. And then we also had a marketing component to it. And then fast forward to where we are almost 35 years later, I am decided at age 56 to go out on my own and start my own business. And part of the reason I did it was because the fact that I felt like there was a miss in the, if you will, in the marketing world, the marketing agency, or just in businesses in general. A lot of times we're very reactive in businesses. And so I felt a need to go and help other businesses kind of pause on that reaction of, oh, we just need to do a media campaign, or we just need to put up a billboard, or whatever it may be. Instead, let's take a pause, let's take a step back, let's talk about what your goals are, your strategies, your high level of where you want to go and what you want to do. And because of that, I really dug deep and realized that really it's about an undercurrent. You know, a lot of people have sat with me through the years and have said, this is what I want to do. And then after we have these in-depth strategy planning sessions, we realize, wait, we really need to be doing this. So there's an undercurrent that's usually there. And so that's where the undercurrent, the firm, came from. We consider ourselves wave makers, and that's because we want to shake things up. We want to make things a little different. We don't want to be a transactional partner. We don't want to, actually, don't even want to be called a vendor. We want to be called a partner. We want to sit at the table with the decision makers and help them make healthy decisions for their business to grow. So that's how Undercurrent started. And we actually opened our doors on March 23rd. So we are 2 months into business.
All right, all right. I'm sure it's quite a ride thus far, but set the stage for the viewers and listeners. What does the current ownership look like? In other words, I mean, are you a sole owner or do you have partners in this endeavor?
I actually also own another business with a gentleman, well, with some other people. And this one of the gentlemen from there, his name's Roy Heatherly, and so he and I together own Undercurrent. I own 75% of it, and he really had a desire to do the same thing that I was doing. That he had finished his career. He's a seniored individual who we absolutely adore. But he always had a passion for growing our communities and for making businesses thrive better in their communities that they serve and aligning and collaboration. So the two of us together decided that we would go out on this venture together. Since opening our doors, we have hired 5 employees, which is going a lot faster than what we thought that we were going to do. But it's been very well received. Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of nights that I'm up all night wondering about clients, invoicing, taking care of the
That's the
day-to-day
reality of
businesses.
owning businesses, right?
But it's a healthy stress, though.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
of
a
course.
very different kind of stress.
And so, what does the other business do? I'm just curious.
So okay, this one's going to shock you. But we own a business called Obituary Share, and we strategically post obituaries for funeral homes throughout the United States. Newspapers have become challenging and almost non-existent in some communities, the cost factor involved with it. And so we help funeral homes post obituaries, and then we strategically put money behind it and put it in the right demographics in the right area
Understand.
to help.
That's
So, and it
that's
actually
very smart.
helps. It helps to drive business actually to the funeral homes as well. So, so it's a win-win for them. It helps the families, but it also helps the funeral homes driving business to their websites. So.
That's very interesting because ultimately, people can do marketing for the sake of doing marketing. But when you have a purpose behind it, when you really do it because you want to get your message across to a certain type of people, that's when difference happens. And I can sense that that's the undercurrent on everything that you do. And
Yes,
so
yes.
it
There's a
just it
method
just
to
fits.
it.
And so, what's the current role that you have in or the current role that you play in this business?
So, I'm kind of wearing a bunch of different hats right now. We've kind of aligned ourselves into, we've got a couple that do the multimedia purpose role. We've got some that do the management of the clients. I don't necessarily do any of the design or any of those kind of things. My designs are here. I'm not talented like that, like those other amazing people are. But I focus primarily on strategic planning, working with C-suites, working with leaders of organizations, really digging deep into what their goals are. If they don't have goals, I work with them primarily on that. But in addition to that, I am also our bookkeeper. I am our payroll person. I am our HR person. So I'm wearing a lot of different hats when it comes to that. But I think if you're going to build a business, the most important part of it is to understand every single aspect of it instead of hiring someone to do each one of those pieces and not intimately be involved with how to set up your chart of accounts, how to set up your GL codes, how do you want your invoicing to look like? Part of Undercurrent's bigger picture is that even to the point of how we onboard a new client, I want the experience, whether it's me doing it today or 2 years or 6 months down the road. I have an accountant that's doing it. I want the onboarding process to be relationship driven. I want it to get all the information we can up front to make sure that they understand how the billing practices work. So we understand how theirs work. So I think it's important for me to wear all those hats right now, especially is building this business because I want to make sure that in every touch point that someone has with my business, that they have a relationship that is connecting them with. If I'm going to tell them that this is what you need to do, then I need to be able to do it as well. So,
For sure, for sure. So that there's a lot of congruency there. And so, let me perhaps ask you a question that I don't normally ask people, but given that we're aiming to give guidance through these with people who are in the throes of starting a business and getting going, um, there is, of course, the question always of how much is too much, because wearing many hats is almost going back to scripture. He who serves two masters will fail one of them, right? And
right.
so, I'm sure there's always a capacity that we have to be able to handle many things at once. And as an owner, you have that necessity, and yet it's not something that as you grow and you continue gathering speed and volume, it's sustainable, right? And so, what would you tell somebody that is perhaps in this stage that understands? There's a need to be involved in it, but there's also a need to be on it, where you're not having to do things because they become distractions, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. Especially the bookkeeping side. So, I will also say, and I probably should have said that initially, is that part of what I've also done is I've partnered with with a great CPA firm, a great payroll company, that are also teaching me the best practices. And the number one thing that I told both of them was that I want to make sure that I'm in compliance, that I am, that I am
Yes.
meeting all the laws, that I am, that the legality and the liability pieces that come with running a business. So although I'm probably paying a little extra to the two vendors that I am using, I will continue to do that until I'm ready to either transition to to an internal person, or maybe they just, it continues that way and I bring on an internal person. So I do think that there's two pieces to it. One is that you've got to know what your limits are. And although my first, I do thank God that truly that I spent my first 3 years in college in accounting and I was like, oh, I don't want to be an accountant, but it has helped me in everything that I have done going forward in my life. So I'm thankful for it, but I'm not the expert. And I think that so the one piece is to know where your limits are and to utilize those experts who do know how to do it. Utilize resources such as LinkedIn, ask people for help, those kind of things, because you will get to a place where there are some days that I am like, okay, I'm maxed out, I'm calling uncle. But I've created a database of people that I trust and I know that when I'm hitting those roadblocks that I make sure that I rely on them. And I think that that is so important. And I do believe that if 30 years ago I had tried to do this, I probably would have been like, I got this. I can do this. I'm not saying that you can't when you're younger. I just think that I probably was like, oh, I can do anything. I can work 60 hours a week, 80 hours a week. It doesn't matter. I can do all that. But I've also realized what my limits are. I also have surrounded myself with really, really, really strong employees. I have one particular employee that I've worked with for 11 years. We worked at our previous employer together, and at least once a week, she says, okay, call a timeout. Where are we? What do we need to be doing? What can I take off your plate? What can I help with? And she herself has even gone and taught herself some QuickBook tools and things like that. So I think that's the other piece too, is make sure that you surround yourself with people that can help you, whether it's that they work for you or as a vendor or a partner.
or resources that you have
Yeah.
available to you. Thank you for that. That I knew I was taking a gamble in asking this question, and mainly because you have been around. Well, this is not your first rodeo per
Yeah.
se, and so I knew that you will have that expertise, um, that knowledge that it can become too much, and as a business, it can be very lonely at the top, if you don't have the right support around you, and you don't understand what your limits really are. So that is perfect. Thank you so much for that. And so let's move on to what makes your business so special. So, who primarily does your business serve? If I were in the audience, how will I know I was a really, really good fit for your services?
So when I created Undercurrent, part of what I said I wanted to do was I wanted to help any business that wanted to grow, that believed in growing. So we primarily work with probably more established businesses or organizations, universities, leaders, those kind of things. Yes, but anybody that wants to grow their business, and I mean truly grow it. I don't mean like, oh yeah, I want to, yeah, sure, I want to do it, but it like that truly wants to understand how to grow their business and how to invest in their business. So I look at it as that anyone who isn't from an entrepreneur to a multi-billion-dollar business, it doesn't matter if you were willing to sit at the table and you're willing to have these conversations about how to grow your business, then those are the people that we work with. It I also try to avoid if you come to me and you say, again, you're going to hear me say transactional a lot. If you just want me to make some social graphics for you and post them on social media, or you just, want me to make some pretty flyers for you, I'm probably not the person that you want to partner with, because I'm going to make you dig deeper than that. I'm going to ask you questions to say, why are we doing this? What is the end goal for this? How does this tie back into your business? So really it's any business. And I tell clients all the time, do not say you want any business. Do not say you want everyone as a client. But for me, it's a business that truly wants to invest in a growth pattern. We below the waterline call ourselves growth agents. We are calling ourselves that we want to help you grow your business. So whether it's that you want to you're doing a hiring campaign and you come to us and say, okay, in part of our partnership, I need to do a hiring campaign. We're going to take a step back and we're going to say, okay, we're going to do this hiring campaign, but what are the goals for it? Does your HR have the ability to bring on these people, to interview these people, to process these people? Because the worst thing you can do is put your brand out there, get a great database of, candidates, and then you can't interview them, you don't follow up with them, you can't get them hired. Now they're frustrated. You've tarnished your brand somewhat. So we want to work with people who want to have those conversations and have that bigger discussion about how does this impact the company as a whole.
Love it. I love it. Okay. So it also represents a uniqueness in your case, because part of it is not only the people that I do want to do business with, but also knowing who you don't want to bring around because you won't be able to satisfy their needs if they are not in tune or in line with what you do. So I'm sure that you're not the only agency per se in the area. And so, how do you compare to people offering similar services?
So I actually just wrote a blog recently on something about competition. And the first thing I'm going to say is that businesses, including myself, and I do not allow my team to do it, our number one competitor is ourselves. So that's first and foremost. Now, do we keep a pulse on what other people are doing? Absolutely. Do we see what other, organizations or agencies or marketing firms or consulting strategy companies are doing? We do. We keep a pulse on it. But the most important thing for me is that if if the only reason that someone chooses not to do business with me is because of financial reasons, then there's not a whole lot I can do about it. But based on the skills and the services that I offer, I feel like that my business should speak for itself. So it's hard because I would rather collaborate with three other agencies who are doing what I'm doing than for me to fight to get that one piece of the pie. Just yesterday, I met with somebody about this specific topic about how important it is that I may not be the expert at every piece of what somebody needs. And so maybe there's somebody out there that does video better than us. There's somebody out there that does social media better than us. There's somebody out there that does web better than us. So maybe I come in and I'm just the strategic part of what you do. Or maybe I come in and I am the strategic and I'm the social strategy part. And that we find other vendors or other partners to do the other components of it. So when it comes to competition and other people who do what we do, a piece of paper can say the exact same thing, but the experience and the experience that the client feels and the expertise that's being provided to them has to speak for itself. And so, again, dollar for dollar, we can put things together, but you could take my exact proposal that I put out today and their proposal you put out tomorrow, and I'm sure the experience that a client would feel is completely different with both of those organizations.
That's amazing. It's a lot of clarity in that offering. And what you're talking about is what we call competition, right? There is always that little bit of I can do a little better, but truly there's nothing like being able to collaborate with people that are in your same space because there's always something to learn, and there's always something that we can add to people in our marketplace that rises the tide for everybody. Yes. And
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
what is one thing that you wish more people knew about Undercurrent?
Um, that it's okay to that we do like to I'm gonna steal something from one of my clients that she always says she likes to puff out her chest. I think it's okay to puff out your chest, and so that when you see undercurrent, you're going to see that we're bold and that we're not afraid to share ideas. We're not afraid to say, well, how do we make our community better by doing this? And we're not afraid to invest in our community. That it's okay to puff your chest out. It's okay to say, I'm proud of the services that we provide. In all honesty, I think every business should do that. I mean, we could all take a little note from Chick-fil-A. I mean, how they started the "It's my pleasure," they go out of their way. And, the
That's
first
right.
time someone said that, everybody was like, whoa. So I think it's okay to puff out your chest. And I believe that Undercurrent is doing exactly that. I've had so many people leading up to the announcement of the name of our company that when I did, they said, "Oh, undercurrent, that's such a negative connotation. That's such a negative word." And then when I tell them what our purpose is and our goals are, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Okay, well, wow, this is like you really hit me, like whack me upside the head." And
Right.
and that's what we want to do. I want to shake things up. I want people to, if you're going to spend money with somebody, and I don't care if it's the CPA or the payroll company or your janitorial supplies, whatever, people should be proud of what they're selling or what they're doing or what they're offering. We should be so proud of it. And so that's really, our tagline at Undercurrent is, it's creating better partnerships through building better communities. And so if you think about that like everything that I do and my team does, we want to make it better, and that I want to leave it better than it was before you worked with me. And so if you left working with me and you go on to something else, that you look back and you say, wow, I learned a lot from there, or I gained a lot from there, but we just moved to we needed something, different or a different direction. But I think it's okay to puff out your chest.
There you go. I love it. I love it. And so, this question always leads me to marketing. Um, it is certainly something that is vital for every business out there, and often an area that people struggle with. There's almost like a black box, a lot of how to should I, can I, that sort of questioning. And so I'm always curious about what successful businesses are doing to really get the type of customers that they want to have. And so, I mean, from a basic standpoint, is there like budget related to these? Is that something that is in your case that I'm sure there's a marketing plan? And I am asking this question knowing that the light is out in the electrician's house often, right? So the question is, how does that play out for you to get this message out to the community of what you want them to know?
Well, specifically for Undercurrent, just like you said, the electric, about the electrician and the painter's house always needs painting and that kind of thing. The number one business that I should use as a referral is my own business. So if someone says, "What does this look like?" I should be able to show them my website. I should be able to show them my lead paths. I should be able to show them what my social media looks like. I should all those things. So that's a piece of it. I think the other piece of it is that budgets are scalable. Now, I'm going to back up and say one other thing. Marketing companies, and I'm going to also say IT companies as well. There are some out there that have done an injustice to a lot of businesses. So people are very skeptical about IT companies and marketing companies in general. IT budgets are huge, and so a lot of money gets spent, and there's this line item that always freaks CFOs out, and the accounting department and that kind of stuff. We write big checks for that stuff, but you want to write big checks for that because if you don't have it, then you can't function. So,
Oh, and it's a return on investment. You're not
right.
just spending money.
Right. And to me, IT is, it's your insurance. I mean, it's just like have homeowners insurance, things like that you don't ever need until you need it. But on the marketing side, I've experienced that as well, is that, I've worked with clients that have said in the past, "Oh, I worked with this company and I didn't get any leads," or "I worked with this company and I didn't get this, and I spent this much money and I didn't get that." I don't think it's that the marketing companies weren't doing their jobs. I just think that there wasn't a solid plan, a solid strategy to it. So for budgets, it's scalable. I mean, it's based on what it is you're trying to do. It's based on, but but you also have to factor in when it comes to marketing, it's not a one-hit wonder. It's not oh, I'm going to go do it for 30 days and that's what it is. The other is I've worked for even my bosses before who were like, I just want hundreds of leads coming in. I'm like, well, why do you want these leads coming in when they're not viable leads, when they're not aligned with what we sell or what we do, or, they're just filling out a form so they can get a white paper or whatever it is. I said, I would rather five hard leads than 100 leads that aren't going to lead to anything at all.
Right.
So and when you start thinking of it that way, you don't build a 170-page website. You build a 10-page website, and you have landing pages that are very specific to what you want to get from the individual. You you don't spend thousands of dollars on digital media buys that you just casting a net to everywhere and saying, I hope I get it. You get very specific. So, like if you were in Northeast Louisiana, you're going to say, I want Rayville, I want Delhi, I want Mangum, you're going to get specific versus saying, 80-mile radius of this.
Right.
So, and so when you talk about budgets, though, that's where you're really getting smart with your budget because you're honing in on it so you can spend less too. You don't have to spend as much. And so it's things like that that I think that people have to kind of, but the downside to what I do is you have to have the conversation, and people want, in today's world, they want action. They just like, yeah,
Right.
that's fine. Just make it go happen.
Result.
Just to make it happen. And then when it doesn't happen, they're like, well, you didn't do your job. So it's a balance that has to take place to really educate people about it. But they also don't need, and I'll also say that, especially in tough economic times, the very first thing that people do, what do they cut? Marketing.
Like,
But I will tell you, if COVID didn't teach us anything, we actually grew our business dramatically during COVID, on both sides of the business, the previous business I was with. And the reason for that was everyone needed IT because everybody went home to work. And so everybody had to have
that's right.
technology. But two was because people couldn't go places and buy things. And so nobody knew, you know, how to get information, so everybody upped their digital presence, everybody upped their social media presence, everybody upped their website, and those things. And a lot of that's sustained because a lot of people realize, oh, I need all this stuff to keep my business out there and relevant. But there's so many easy things that can be done that can work within any budget. But you got to have the conversation to make sure that you're spending the money wisely.
I love it. Well, I mean, it really informs what we do, and perhaps we got to make it easy for people that are listening to these. Um, Marketing is an area that it requires continuous nurturing, continuous evolution. It's not seldom that I find somebody that has invested a lot of money to create a new image branding, websites, all these digital access, and it works, and it works for time, and then it needs to evolve, and it may be a matter of a year before they have to go back and reinvest into it to bring it to a different level. So I think that the approach that you're taking, and this is just an opinion in my case, is really understanding what the strategy is, what the end purposes are, to really home in on how to efficiently use the money that we put into marketing. That's what makes it an investment. And so thank you for that. That's excellent. I hope that people listening get the message that at the end of the day, you're only going to grow as much as your marketing um, becomes more sophisticated, right? And you're hitting the right marks as you go. And if there's anything that is truth when it comes to growth, right? We hear from Marshall Goldsmith, what got you here won't get you there. It cannot be any truer in any other area than marketing is, because it works for a time, and then it changes and it evolves, and you have to pursue new things. So innovation needs to continuously occur. Thank you for that. That's a great message for everybody. And so we spent a bunch of time focused on the business and what you do and how you do it. I'd like to take a step back and dive a little bit more into this journey of yours, right? So it's very new. It isn't your first rodeo, so you already have gone through the experiences that most people getting into business have gone through. Um, but as you go into this business, and you choose to do it for yourself, um, what has been the most memorable roadblock or hurdle that you were challenged with and you had to overcome?
So, for transparency, so for about 18 months prior to doing this business, I had been thinking about going out on my own. My previous employer actually had sold the company that it was going through a buyout. And um, I truly believe that God had a hand in this the whole journey. And when I tell you one door after another was slammed in my face, one door after another was slammed in my face. And 2 days before Christmas, I was doing a little Christmas shopping with my daughter. She pulled up in the car next to me, and one more door had closed for my partner and I. And I got out of the car and I did the whole I am a strong woman, but I'm not going to break down. And I had a little bit of a breakdown. And my daughter looked me in the face and she said, I don't know why you just don't do this on your own. Why are you trying to force yourself into something, into a pigeonhole of something that I was trying to make pieces fit. I was trying to merge with another company. I was trying to, do all these investors and all this partnerships and all these different things. And so I guess for me, the thing that hit me the most when she said that was, okay, well, first of all, here's my 24-year-old daughter who is like, whap, wake up, mom, you can do this. Um, but two, it made me realize that, all those adversaries, the challenges, the doors that close, even when it comes to clients, like when those things hit you, instead of looking at it like, where did I go wrong? How did I fail? Why didn't I, it's like take a step back and say, okay, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go try again, but what can I do better? How can I do it different? Ask for feedback, like find out what the reasons were. A lot of times it's not even you that is the reason that it didn't happen or something, but I will say that, doing this and, even sitting there the day that I went and opened my checking account for this business, I was scared to death because all I could think about was how will I make payroll? How will I take care of these, these people that who are investing in me and taking a journey with me? But for every one of those challenges and every time one of those doors closed, I literally said, I'm not going to let this stop me from doing what I believe in and doing what I believe is best for the clients that I serve. And so at the end of the day, every day, I think about my employees, I think about my clients, and I think about the communities that I work in and that I serve. And so for every decision that I make, good and bad, that is what I think about. And so I feel such conviction for the journey that I went on to get where I am today. And don't get me wrong, I'm still scared. I'm still, worry every day but not worry in an unhealthy way, worry.
Right.
I take it more as a challenge, but I believe in what I do. And I would challenge anyone that if you hear a bunch of no's or you get the door shut or if you're trying to go out on your own or you're trying to win that big account, whatever it is, that instead of looking at it like I failed or I made a mistake, those failures and those bumps in the road are only going to make you better and stronger and into something that's greater that you don't know that's there. So you can't give up. And I guess that's for me is that every one of those hurdles, standing in that parking lot that day, going in to spend all that money on Christmas presents, going, I don't know what I'm going to do next month. Um, so, but even at 56, I'm still growing, I'm still learning, I'm still absorbing it all. And I just, you know, for every challenge, stand up to it and just keep going. So,
I love it. I love it. Thank you very much for that clarity. Well, let me ask you this. Um, you started these with an end in mind, right? So what does success look like to you?
um, my gut is to say that in some years, well, actually, I have two. One is by the end of the year, I have two employees who came on with me in the beginning, and that I've made an offer to them that they can buy into the company at the end of the year if if they so desire to. Um, and that both of my daughters are in marketing. That if I could have anything that I wanted, it would be that I could pass this business, my portion of the business, on to them. That my partner could do the same. He has children that are in the marketing realm as well, and that I leave a legacy behind that whether it closes shop in 10 years, 20 years, or 100 years, whatever it looks like, that people say, wow, those people really did help my business grow. They really did make a difference in the way that I handled my business, the way that I strategically planned to do things for my business. So, you know, success for me is that's what it's going to look like, that I help my employees own something that is theirs if they so desire, that my children are proud of what I have done, and that I have helped clients grow into the same things that I want from my business. So that's what it looks like for me. So,
That is awesome. And so, the word that keeps coming in my mind is, and it's just a concept, is that how pivotal your business can be for businesses trying to grow. Like you said, um, you may not be there forever for them, but when they look back, they may be able to say that was the pivot point. That's where it made a difference. And so, um, keep that energy because that's going to come to a challenge at some point, right?
yes.
Because you're going to be offered opportunities, and I can foresee that question coming up to the forefront, right? Do
Mm,
we remain with this identity, and do we focus on what we started with, or do we take on this new opportunity that may take us into new realms, right?
right.
And so it is extremely inspiring to have this conversation. And so we've covered a lot of ground in this conversation today, and we want to keep it manageable for people listening. And so I'm gonna run through the last portion of the interview with questions that I ask everybody that they're quick top of head answers. We call it rapid fire, right? And before we do, I just want to make sure that we encourage the listeners, the viewers, to not only save these for a future watch. There's really good nuggets of information here that may help you when you're feeling challenged. Um, but to also share it with other people. You never know who you might inspire by sending this out to the people you know. And so, Liz, I'm going to ask you these rapid fire questions. You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right. What is the key to success for you?
Positivity.
What is one piece of advice you will have for other business people who are either in the throes of it and they're looking to grow, or people who are thinking of starting?
Don't give up. Constantly challenge yourself to keep going, keep going, keep going. You know that saying, just keep swimming, just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming. So, I'm sure over the years you have been around a lot of information of resources, right? But what is one book that you will highly recommend people to get a hold of because it really helped you um, shift mindset or come to that understanding of who you need to be?
Um, there's a program book, if you will, called StrengthsFinders.
Yes.
StrengthsFinders, I am a huge advocate of it. I have used it in the past in my healthcare career, and then I've used it at what I've done for the past 11 years. StrengthsFinders is probably one of the best programs that I have ever implemented, read about, done. It really allows you as a team to build a healthy team and to really understand, instead of saying they're not doing their job, you actually get to realize that it's just not their strength, and aligning people with their strengths and their weaknesses. We all have to do things we don't like to do or really good at, but if you can align your team better, Strength Finders is probably the um, one that I go back to over and over and over and over.
I love it. I love it. Well, if you have to choose only one area of your business that you could immediately improve tomorrow, what will that be?
Probably staying organized, staying efficient in the way that we process from, getting a proposal done, getting a quote out, getting the information, the consistency and the timeliness of doing that. Because I think we kind of, those detailed things tend to make us, we want to do the rapid fire stuff. We want to knock that
Yeah, of
stuff out.
course,
And,
of
and the,
course.
the, the heavy
The
lifting
fun
is
stuff.
Yeah, the heavy lifting part of, follow up and organization. So, and that is actually what I was working on this morning. So,
There you go. All right. And so before we get into the final question of the day, how can other people learn more about you and your company? How can they get in touch with you?
we're on all social media platforms. It's Undercurrent, the firm. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of those. We also have a website that is undercurrentfirm.com. Sorry about that, undercurrentfirm.com. And then you also can email us at info@undercurrentfirm.com. But any of
So,
those channels are the easiest way to get us.
we had a conversation today that it's inspiring from the standpoint that your message is very clear. You have you have determination sorts of the kind of people that you want to work with. And so if somebody felt compelled to, or they may just be thinking about like, that's something I may need to look into, right? What would you tell them? Why should they contact you?
I'd say let's just have the conversation. We do not, so our initial conversations with clients, we do not charge for that. And it literally is not a proposal or a sales conversation. It is truly a strategy. Let's talk about it. Let's just be open about it. Come talk to us about it. Talk to your your teammates, your leadership about it. But I would say reach out. You don't know what to ask? Say, I don't know what to ask. I don't know where to go. I've tried every marketing thing I've ever, possible to do. I need help. But starting the conversation is the critical piece to all marketing, all consulting, all strategy, all of it. You've got to start having the conversation. So I would just start with, that email can just say, I don't know what to ask. And we will take it from there, and we will start asking you questions and, strange things like name an animal that describes your business. We have tactics to get you talking. So, but I would challenge anyone just to reach out. Just say, I don't know what to ask. I don't know where to go. I want to grow my business. Can we talk? And we'll start that conversation. And even if they walk away and they don't do business with us, we hope that they walk away with maybe some skills and some things that they can do internally to start that conversation. The
I love it.
undercurrent.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so, when we're in business, right, there are good days, there are bad days, right? You can feel that you're on top of the world, and then something happens. Now you're right at the bottom. So it really is an emotional roller coaster. And what I find is that the people who have success normally are inspired by something, and it changes over time. Sometimes it could be, just because I want to be a particular person, or I do this for other people, et cetera, et cetera. But at this point in your career, as you have gone through this, and the stresses of business take their toll, right? What do you find gets you out of that? What's inspiring for you today?
It's funny that you said that. This does. um, I get up every single morning and I reflect on the previous day. I also have this really cool thing, this right here, that throughout the day, the previous day, I jot down notes of things that people say. It has nothing to do with my job. It is more about just if I hear a really great quote or I hear someone give someone a compliment or things like that. And then each morning I get up and I just reflect on what took place the day before or the day after. And there are bad days. There are days that are scary. We're all hit with all kinds of different things. The no's, we're not going with you. We're going to go with somebody else. The challenges with children, the challenges with our spouses, all of those things. But at the end of the day, I wake up every day. First of all, I'm thankful that I get to wake up every day. Second of all, I do a whole lot of reflecting on what I saw and experienced the day before. I make a post every single morning on my Facebook page that actually reflects on the previous day. I was challenged during Lent to do that, and I'm so thankful that I did, and I have continued to do it. And the number of people who have reached out to me to say that comment or that scenario that happened to you happened to me, and it made a difference that someone else acknowledged the good, the bad, the ugly. So that is what I do every single morning to redirect myself. We can get up every day and be grumpy and miserable. I mean, it's pouring down rain outside right now, and you can be grumpy about it, but by gosh, I bet the farmers are excited that it's raining. So, you
That's
know,
right.
so you've
That's
got to,
right.
I think you just have to, and I don't believe in like, oh, everything's hunky dory and Pollyanna in the sky and that kind of stuff. But I do believe your attitude is everything. It will change everything. And there are some really difficult days that still happen, but you just, you start over the next day. You get a reset. We're lucky enough every day we get to hit reset. So
I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing all these with us today, for joining us to share with the world what it is that you're trying to do. I thank you to the audience for watching and listening and for sharing it with other people. Again, inspire somebody, get them to hear it. Sometimes they need to hear it from different places before it sits in. And so, until next time, make it a great day.
thank y'all.